right, everybody. Next up stage, we have a panel. So I'm going to go ahead and invite them up stage. They're going to be setting up a little bit. So we'll get that going, and then we'll begin. All right, this panel is going to be all about the metaverse. We're going to be talking about VR, AR, and gaming. This panel is featuring Tyler Culbertson. He's a partner and producer and co-creator of the NFT project My Pet Hooligans. We also have Creatress up here. If you were here from the beginning, you would know that she is a VR performing artist. We also have Arklegger. He has been in the gaming industry for over 15 years as a developer. And then we also have Will Ockelman Wagner. He's a developer and product manager as well. Interviewing them and moderating this panel, we have Keegan. He has been in the public education system for 11 years. He is a NFT and Web3 awareness advocate, and he also hosts the Token Talks of NFTs. He's a great moderator, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to him.
All right. Testing. 1, 2, 3. All right. How's everybody doing? Great. All right, awesome. I might stand a little bit, so if I kind of move a little bit, sorry, but how many people, just show of hands, came from out of town? How many people drove here or flew here? Okay, a handful, right? All right. Just curious because, I kind of want to have that as a reference point as we start to get into this a little bit. Again, our panel is going to be the metaverse, AR, VR, and gaming. We have some wonderful panelists who I know 3 of them personally. I've spent some time with them, and the 4th one I'm going to get to know a little bit more too. And so let's get to it. So first off, let's start with the introductions down on the far end. We'll go to Arklegger. So Arklegger, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, my name is Adam, but on my handle it's Arklegger. I've worked in the game industry for 15 years, spent 12 years at Sony Online Entertainment. They were responsible for EverQuest franchise, big games like PlanetSide 2, H1Z1. And then I found blockchain and went into the NFT space, started making some blockchain games and diving into the research there. And now I'm currently looking for a role in Web3 gaming and trying to take the knowledge that I've learned in the traditional gaming space and the knowledge that I've learned in the crypto and NFT space and combine them together to make Web3 games.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Will. I'm the CTO at Illust AR. We're a blockchain company working on building the metaverse outside. So we have interactive maps where people can geolocate digital assets in the physical world and then interact with them in augmented reality. And really excited to be here.
All right.
Hey everyone, I'm Creatress, Sara Imora. I'm a VR performance artist, multi-dimensional creator, as I like to say. I love all types of art. You'll see my artwork manifesting in 2D drawings, glass-blown sculptures, 3D sculptures that you can experience in AR, kind of like our friend here was just talking about. And yeah, I've been in the Web3 space about 2 years now. Performed at over 20 Web3 events, kind of like this one, across the country and in Mexico City. And yeah, just super excited to be here and talk to you guys.
All right.
Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Tyler Culbertson. I've been a social media marketer for, believe it or not, almost 17 years and have had the honor to work with many of my favorite brands growing up, a skateboarding company, particularly Toy Machine Skateboards. And my life took a 180, if you will, and I found myself being the social media manager for Tony Robbins. And through working for Tony for several years, learned about cryptocurrency in 2017 and NFTs and have had a passion for it. And as a social media marketer, just, you have to have success, you have to create a lot of content, but it's here today, gone tomorrow. And seeing NFTs got me really excited about this concept of it having a longer shelf life and being more special of pieces of content that are being created out there. And so that got me into NFTs, and through Tony, I met this animation studio. Their whole mission was to get a streaming deal with Netflix and do an animated feature. And in 2021, I was like, you guys are perfectly positioned to create NFTs. And so long story short, we have a project called My Pet Hooligan, and also we've, in the background, been building this app called Immy, which is a real-time animation app that has some Web3 elements where we're bringing virtual characters and NFTs to life through real-time animation.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And you know, it's really amazing too. I remember getting the beta invite, but I had I had an iPhone 6s at the time, and so this was the first time I had met you, you know, over a year ago now, and it wasn't working because my phone was so old. But as the months went on, I finally got a new phone, and then I kind of missed out on the beta, but I got to see a lot of the product that was starting to be developed, and it's pretty amazing. So maybe we could kind of get into some more of that in a little bit too.
Okay.
But before we get into that, so because we're talking about a couple things, AR, VR, gaming, and metaverse, kind of wanted to start out. So Will, what is the metaverse for anybody that's new here? I'm sure like we've heard about it a little bit. Maybe you kind of talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, excuse me, absolutely. It's a hard question. Like the metaverse is different for everybody. It's sort of an amorphous term. For me, the metaverse means interoperability. So it's a system where you have different digital worlds, games, communities, web AR applications, whatever, that the core information, the identities, the assets, the items, the information about what you have, what you own, who you are, is interoperable. It works across these individual universes. So instead of like you have one character in GTA 5 and a totally different character in World of Warcraft, like maybe there's some way that you could interop with those two. And the more that we build things in this way, the more people don't have to start over. You can have a new system that leverages people's existing work and identity.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I mean, in terms of metaverse, you know, I think that it started to change a little bit over the years. You know, looking back from the year 2000, you know, we had like Sims, which was a variation of that, and now we're here in 2022. What do you think? What are some of the things that you think are going to be changing as that starts to evolve? Some other implementations. Creatrice, what do you think about that? Especially with some of the stuff you're doing, you know, with VR and whatnot.
Yeah, I think it's hard for me personally to imagine a metaverse where everything is interoperable. So, I mean, like you just mentioned Sims, you wouldn't want to take your Sims character into a Minecraft metaverse, for example. So the way I look at it and the way that I think it's going to end up happening is we have the multiverse, not the metaverse. So, you know, like in Sims, your friend could have their own Sims metaverse, and that's, you know, the one they created, but yours also exists parallel to it, right? They're existing at the same time, and different things are happening in each one. Yeah, I think it's going to continue to be that way. So there's Sandbox, there's Spatial, there's Crypto Voxels, there's Decentraland. None of these have crossover really, and I don't imagine that they're all going to get together and really cooperate to make that crossover. So I think it's kind of nice though, because there won't be a centralized place. It'll be you go to the metaverse that you want to, but there's a multiverse. I always want to kind of hone in on that, because there isn't just a singular one.
Right.
There's already Minecraft, Roblox, you know.
And I think that's part of it, is that, you know, that's part of the maybe a misconception people have, is that, you know, we think metaverse like, oh, it's just one and we're all going to go there, but it's like you have Decentraland, you have Sandbox, you have other side, you have all these variations, and I think that's an important thing for people to keep in mind, especially as these years go on. So let's talk about AR and VR a little bit more. Tyler, so you mentioned the Hooligans, is that the name of the?
Yeah, My Pet Hooligan.
Yeah, what are some things you've been seeing? Because I know you have some what is the secondary product? Is it the bots, Zuckerbots or something?
Oh
too?
yeah, a companion piece called Zuckbox.
And those are AR, right?
They have augmented reality utility behind them.
Okay, so yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Hooligans and how that kind of came to be and everything, how it's been going so far?
Yeah, so like I said before, I have the privilege to work with an animation studio called AMGI Studios, and they're out of Burbank, California, and a lot of entertainment industries there, but this is very much a tech startup that's looking to innovate within animation. And one of their co-founders, Colin Brady, he was one of the first animators at Pixar, and went on to direct Toy Story 2 and has had an incredible career. So yeah, I'm blessed with a lot of incredible creators to work with. And we were kicking around this idea. There was existing IP within the studio, and it was very kid friendly. And in NFT world, like a lot of it is, thankfully we have Creatress here who's getting more of a feminine balance of their a female representation, but it's male dominated. So anyway, we went with this storyline where we're like, pretending to be Quentin Tarantino or something, write a storyline. And long story short, it's about these rabbits that have been held captive by Meta Zuckbot, which was, the story emerged out of when Facebook changed their name to Meta. We saw it as an affront that this guy's trying to commandeer the term metaverse, and I love her explanation of this multiverse and that it's much more than the singular thing. So the storyline emerged from there that these rabbits are rebel, and they're there to defend and protect Web3 and eliminate a centralized metaverse. So it's evolved where it's now a Web3 video game, so people who have token holders, they can take their actual hooligan and run around. It's very much in a beta V1 setting, but you have a Roblox experience, or no, I shouldn't say that because you can't build, but you can communicate and interact with token holders in there. We're opening up to more people as well. I guess back to the AR piece though, is in the background, Colin Brady and our co-founder Josh Robbins formulated this idea of how can we democratize animation, and animation's so expensive. Believe it or not, it takes almost $100,000 for one piece of Pixar quality animation, and that minute might not even be used in the film. So they've always been innovating with the Unreal Engine is a huge element, and what a lot of this is being built on actually is your kind of two camps of Unity and Unreal. This is an Unreal Engine-based studio, AMGI, and they've been tasked with Josh came to them and said, how can we shoehorn motion capture technology into an app? And 2 years later, we've hit that point where we're in market now on the App Store. There's an app called, it's free, it's Immi.io, and in there is a cast of characters where you can bring these characters into life through augmented reality. And right now, augmented reality is, it's not the full experience of what it's going to be. And right now, we experience AR through our phones. And so our app, you can power this character, puppet a character in augmented reality and create real-time animation. And is it like movie quality? No, but it's first of its kind. We're real excited about it. And so to tie this in with My Pet Hooligan, we took all those 3D assets, the 3D models, and we made those available to all token holders, where now they can pull down from their MetaMask wallet into Immi and bring their NFT to life and create content with their hooligan. Yeah. And but I guess the last thing I'll say about AR, I kind of went in, or it was also about hooligans, but with technology, with the phone in particular, that's a lot of it's due to Apple. And they really haven't had a huge innovation since the phone. Like it's improved upon, but there hasn't been this revolutionary technology since the phone. And the one they're going to release next are wearables for augmented reality. You have Facebook or Meta who's bullish on VR, and Apple's going all in on AR. So that's where we're kind of putting our stake into AR more so right now, and find it both just very fascinating. But yeah, AR has an exciting future as well.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that info. And yeah, I'm kind of turning it on and off. Sorry if it's echoing, so I'm trying to find the best sound variable. But no, if you guys haven't seen it, the graphics are amazing. I mean, it's an amazing product, and I was amazed, from when it started, and seeing it at VCon, and then seeing the rendering. And you mentioned Unreal, and so for context, that was a standard for anybody that's new in here, kind of for the development phase for rendering in the early days of gaming, I guess you could say. And I don't wanted to get into that because I myself, took part in a lot of that in the early 2000s. So for context, I was born in '84, so I've had the opportunity to see 2 decades worth of technology, and so I was very fortunate enough to live through getting the internet when it first started and playing online games before Twitch, before YouTube, and all that. And then getting a chance to see like where it's going now. It's been a really great experience for Web3 and AR and metaverse and VR and gaming. And so kind of want to bring Ark into the mix here and get your 2 cents on this because, we mentioned Unreal, which was a great game at the time, and me personally, I was a fan of first-person shooters, so I may be a little biased versus other games. But now we're seeing it. It's in Unreal Engine. Is it Unreal Engine 5 is where we're kind of at with the technology? I know you have about 15 years in the gaming industry here, so you have some experience. What are some things that you're seeing here that's happening into the Web3 side and mixing in the games? I know Tyler kind of touched on it a little bit.
Yeah, it's very interesting what's happening right now because you have this divide in traditional gaming and centralized ecosystems where publishers want to control all your data and you give the publisher money and they give you an asset and that's the end of the transaction. I kind of tease Blizzard a little bit because they have a game called Hearthstone and it's supposed to be a trading card game, but they dropped the T. It's just a card game because you can't actually trade the cards with anybody else. It would be like if Wizards of the Coast made a statement tomorrow and said, nobody's allowed to trade any Pokemon or Magic cards ever again. You have to keep them in your house and that's it. And so that's kind of the world that traditional gaming and gamers are used to. They're used to giving money to people or to the publishers, and the publishers give them it back, and then they can't do anything else with it. I can't trade it to you. I can't give my account and trade it to somebody else. I can't take my asset offline and upload it into another game that supports it. And so that's why I'm so excited about Web3 because of the decentralization, because of the ownership of your data. It goes much deeper than just ownership of your data. It's history of your gameplay. I played a game called Dark Age of Camelot, which was kind of like World of Warcraft, for 7 or 8 years. And when I stopped playing that game, I lost my character. If you don't play the game, if you lose your subscription, and if the game, let's say this just goes away, the servers go down, you lose everything. And I always thought that was kind of silly because if I collect something in the physical world and I put it on my desk and I stop playing with it, that doesn't mean it goes away. I can always open up and look and see what I have. I can put it on eBay and sell it if I want to. I can gift it to my kid or one of my friends. And so I don't see why that shouldn't be possible with all video games, with all things that you purchase in gaming. And so I do believe that will be the future of gaming once we start getting games that rival traditional games. Traditional games have been around since late 70s, if you really want to go far back in time. But really in the 80s, when Nintendo kind of revived the scene after Atari, they have like a 30-year head start. And so it's going to take some time for Web3 to kind of ramp up and have these games rival what's going on in Web 2. But I really do believe that once they have a really good product and players see that they can own their data and own their items and own their transactions and own their history of their gameplay, it's just when you put the two next to each other, it's gonna look like night and day. And so that's why I'm really, really excited about making games in Web 3. Just because we've all felt it. We've all seen what it's like to just give your data away or just spend a bunch of money in something and then that's it. You don't get to do anything with it, which
Right.
always seems silly to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, my dad is super, I don't give my data anyway, I don't want my email out there, I'm paying in cash, like he's old school. So I think there's a lot of people still like that too, because it's uneasy sometimes because you don't know who to trust. And also a little history tidbit here, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, you mentioned World of Warcraft and that was actually kind of what really started the development of the Ethereum blockchain, that because at the time, I think Vitalik, he came up with that idea to start building that blockchain out because of the situation he was feeling. Like what you just said, the same sentiments from World of Warcraft, where I can't take my stuff out, and what if I want to sell it? Because you invest so many hours, so much time, so much energy, and all of a sudden, it's like, okay, well, what if I want to like sell it, or what if I want to move it? And so I think that's an interesting point to keep in mind as we move forward. You also mentioned interoperability a little bit too, and that kind of could shift things. Are there any other metaverses that are kind of doing that or looking to implement that type of?
Yeah, so the leader in the space right now is Yuga Labs. They're the ones behind Bored Ape Yacht Club, and they're creating a metaverse called The Other Side. And these guys come from a background of playing World of Warcraft for 10 years. And they, if anybody's felt it, they've felt what it feels like to play something for 10 years and then a year later look back and go, well, what happened? Like, was it even worth it? Like, I can't even look at my character anymore. I can't even like see what I did. And so they're creating this metaverse where it's an open, they're calling it an open metaverse, I think, and it's basically anybody who uses their software developer kit or SDK can build on top of it, right? So how anybody can build on top of Ethereum because it's decentralized, they're kind of taking the same standpoint for a video game to where any game company can build on top of their game to create this like ultimate metaverse game. And so to what Creatures was saying, it is kind of like a little bit of a multiverse where you go over here to the other side and everybody's hanging out in this metaverse, but then you can go over here. It's kind of like traveling, right? We can go to Europe or Asia, Canada, Mexico, and they're all different, right? But we're all connected. And so even though physically we're all connected on Earth, there's no reason why we can't all be connected digitally, in the metaverse or the multiverse, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, no, it's going to be some amazing stuff. And it's really going to be interesting to see how it plays out, especially once they start to implement, different currencies within those metaverses, if you will. Like I know Sandbox uses Sand Token. I know Decentraland uses, I think, what is it? What are they called?
Mana.
Mana.
Yeah.
And then I know Other Side is supposed to be utilizing ApeCoin as well. And I know there's some projects that are also using ApeCoin within their NFT projects. 10KTF, should check it out. Side subject. But yeah, so it's going to be really cool because I think everybody will have an opportunity to participate in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a game, whether it's a performance, whether it's selling some goods, and it's going to be really cool to see what people start to implement. And I want to actually turn it over to Creatrice. Creatrice, so you've been an artist for quite some time, I think now, and I know we met last year in April already, and we've seen each other at multiple conferences. You were local here before until you relocated to Hawaii, and maybe the metaverse is going to bring us together for some of your performances, and people here will be able to participate and see.
Yeah.
But how are you incorporating this into some of the things that you're building and want to do? And I guess if you could share some of your background from before you came into the space, like.
Yeah. Well, I guess background first. So I've always wanted to pursue art. Wasn't really sure it was a viable option. But either way, I went ahead and studied art in university, and just tried every type of art: jewelry making, life drawing with live models that move around every few minutes, so you have to work fast. Real sculpture, ceramics. I tried glass blowing as well. I tried sculptures with plants, live art as well. And also performance and theater. So just to give you guys a background, so I've tried every creative outlet possible. And so in terms of the metaverse, I got my VR headset December 2020, and I learned about NFTs January 2021. So it's like right at the same time, winter. And it just kind of made sense for me. The first NFT that I ever minted was a 3D object that I made in VR. Fast forward to now, I think we touched on utility, AR utility. My sculptures all have that as well. So if, I'm up here, for anyone who didn't see, I created a 3D sculpture this morning. So what I'll do now is download it from the cloud. I have it on my phone and I can take a photo of you guys here with the sculpture right here in front of you guys, and create like a mixed reality, augmented reality, new artwork, which is now a photograph with a sculpture in it. So a little bit of that kind of helps me onboard people and just show them what AR can do, even just on their phone.
Right.
Because that's already integrated into your phone. If you have an iPhone, there's an augmented reality viewer already integrated there.
Yeah.
You don't have to add an app. So that kind of, I'd really like to touch on that. The other side is these 3D objects can be uploaded into any metaverse, right? So I've got a spatial gallery, which is, you go on your phone, you can see it on your desktop. It's a 3D space, and my sculptures are all in there, 3D sculptures. So your little avatar can walk right up to it, you can see it from close up, you can see it from far away.
So are those for sale, or are people only allowed to look at them, or do you have
Some of
different-
them, yeah, some of them are available, some of them are just there for people to experience.
Wow.
I've also had them in AltSpace, which is a metaverse that you can access through the VR headset or on your desktop as well. Crypto voxels, I've
Yeah.
put some stuff in there. So kind of going back to that multiverse, which honestly I kind of wish it would be just one central place, because then I could just upload my sculptures there and then they'd be there. But as it stands now, there are so many different little pockets of the
Yeah.
metaverse that I'm slowly adding my stuff into
Right.
each one.
And it's kind of where like you need to figure out, well, where's my resources gonna be best spent? Is it gonna be invested in what's it called, spatial? Or
Spatial.
Spatial. Or is it gonna be Sandbox, or is it gonna be Decentraland, or is it gonna be other side,
Right.
And it's just, and that's why I think it's still so early for us to really determine the one that's gonna be the one. But I think there's some interesting players that are in the game for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's those experiences that are going to be meaningful. And I've seen you perform multiple times already, and so you actually do pieces for people individually as well, right?
Yeah, I've done, I prefer to do just whatever my brain's, feeling, but I have done some commissions as well, which has been really fun because
Yeah.
it's a different challenge.
Yeah, and it's special too, having those connections. I know you autograph, you sign your names of the people that are there, and all of a sudden you get this digital asset with your names on it, and you can remember like, oh, I was there October 22nd, San Diego at the library. It's like, those are going to be meaningful,
Yeah.
Even the NFTs that I heard about that you get at the end of the baseball games now that they're giving out, It's a whole other thing, but we'll get to that. But yeah, thank you for sharing that info, really appreciate it. Let's turn it over to Will. So Will, I just talked about experiences, and I know you're doing some things with digital experiences, and is it AR and VR, or is it both?
Just AR
Okay.
is what we're focused on. Yeah, so I guess I touched on a little bit. Illust is, I think I might have seen you uploaded one of your art to us as well. Because it's
I did.
Okay, great,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, so we're focused on this, this idea that I think we've all touched on of like digital assets becoming more real once they're part of the metaverse, because there's something that you tangibly own. So we're focused on the part of, like with real things, you can put them places, and people that are there can see them, and people that are not there cannot see them. So for instance, we have partnered with the conference some art, 3D art pieces scattered around the library today. If you go to the.illust.space, then you can see them. Shilling complete. But yeah, and our idea is that, as you said, AR glasses are coming. Apple is actively working on it. The WebKit browser starting to have some WebXR capabilities teased, but we can't use them because we're a web app and they're not there yet. But it's coming, and so we think that one way that it goes is that, right, there's one, it's Facebook or whatever, that decides what this digital overlay of the real world is going to be, and there's another world where it's on the blockchain, it's decentralized. There are infinite reality channels that you can tune to decide what you're going to see on that day, and we'd like to be part of building those base layer channels.
Nice. And there's also a tour going on or something I heard about that you guys are doing?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, there are, as I said, there are a bunch of NFTs scattered around in AR. Here you go to our site, again, v.illust, ILLUST, .space, and placed by various artists, located at a specific point. You walk up to that point, you can see it in AR, And then we have a check-in system where you can, what we call POP, get a proof of presence that like you're really here. You get a Polygon NFT that has a special picture of this conference and includes your location on the blockchain. And now you have an NFT that can prove that you're here to other people. So we worked with folks that do things like, oh, if you went to a show, then later you can get a hoodie, or you can get invited to a secret show later, but only for people that went to one of my other concerts. So, but it's information that you own about yourself and that you decide what you want to do with.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Cool. Yeah, like, I guess I want to kind of like start getting a few more not quick opinions, but just some perspectives on some norms that are going to be coming here in the future. And we'll start at the end and come all the way down here. Thank you for sharing that before and everything. And I know Polygon is definitely going to be a big player in the space here. For those of you that haven't heard or noticed, a lot of different companies, I believe, are starting to utilize it. I think Starbucks is going to actually utilize Polygon. And I mean, I can't remember all of them off the top of my head.
I think Chipotle.
The Chipotle
Oh,
thing.
I know.
Yeah, so like companies are starting to come in here, and I didn't even get into Artifact, which was bought up by Nike, which is the whole thing, and then we didn't talk about Adidas into the metaverse, which is the whole thing. Gucci, which is incorporated utilizing ApeCoin. I mean, there's just a lot of big names coming in, and Puma. Puma's another one. Like, these are multi-million-dollar companies. So for anybody that may think that, oh, this is not real, or this is not true, or this is something that's just a fad, like that's what they said before when the internet started to be developed. And so, just take notice of what's occurring and who's building. And in the space right now, those are big names that are happening, that are here, that have already put their toes in the water. I'd say more than their toes, actually. I'd say the feet are there, and it's just a matter before we start to get into the swimming in it. But yeah, so what are some norms that you guys see, and in like the next 5 to 10 years, from metaverse or gaming, how is it going to shift and change? Because, then if you want to take a second to think about it, because again, I remember when we didn't have cell phones. You mentioned, we have the technology in our phone for the AR and stuff. It's like, that's a big deal. But a lot of people don't always remember what it was like to not have that technology in your pocket. But now, to incorporate all these variations and multiple things within it now, it's going to be really phenomenal to see where it goes in the next 10 years or so. And I'm just blessed to be here to experience it, which is why I just want to create awareness as much as I can. And I'm glad that you guys are all here to share it too. So yeah, what are some norms that you think?
Oh man, I love this question because as a game designer, we have to think macro. We have to think of like, how do we make the most fun for the most amount of people possible? And so when you're constantly thinking that way, you kind of think about the future as well. And something recently just happened that was really, really positive for the space, and that was Ethereum went from proof of work to proof of stake. And what that really means is that they kind of decreased the output of how much energy it takes by 99.8%. They made it more efficient. And so what that did is that was a signal to the big brands that you guys can come in the space and you're not going to get this like climate, you're destroying the planet, like all this hate from your customers, which was why they were not coming in. And that happened where almost the 2 days after, actually the day before they went to proof of stake, Starbucks announced their loyalty NFT program.
That's what it was.
And 2 days after they went to proof of stake, Chipotle started accepting Ethereum for food. And so this proof of stake moment is going to basically bring all the brands in. 5 years from now, when we talk specifically about AR, VR, and metaverse, AR, Apple really has us. They have us by our phone, the watch, and then we're going to have glasses. And so we're going to be like these, not like cyborgs, but basically almost cyborgs, where we have all this data that we're looking at, and it's going to help us. If I'm wearing AR glasses and I'm at a strip mall, I can look and see the reviews of every single one just by just by looking at it, just seeing 4.5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, and just be like, oh, let's go to this place, right?
Yeah.
I'm just looking, and that's just one. I mean, it's going to change a lot. With VR, VR is going to be like going to the movies, right? Like we all remember just going to the movies for a couple hours, being soaked in that environment, closed off, and it was great and it was really fun, and then we leave. I think people are really fearful about putting on the headset and like just being zoned out and like that's it. Sure, I'm sure some people will like that and want that, but I think the practical use case of VR is like a movie theater, where you put it on, you hang out, have fun for a couple hours, you take it off, enjoy the rest of your life. And then gaming was what I was talking about earlier, where you have this ecosystem of controlling all your assets and being able to have this live commerce of trading and spending a lot of time working on a quest, getting this special item, and then being able to tag it with your name on it and give it to somebody or sell it. Think of your favorite gamer now playing with a certain weapon in a tournament, winning the tournament with that weapon, signing it, and then putting it up for auction.
Wow.
Right? And then you get to have and use in the game the weapon that they literally used and played with their mouse.
Can we do that right now? Is that allowed?
I mean, the publishers don't allow
Oh,
it
it's not allowed
because they
yet. Oh,
don't
okay.
want,
Got it.
They don't want people trading like
Got
that.
it, got it.
So, anyways, that's kind of like where I see us being in about 5 years.
Okay. Yeah, nice. No, that's great. I mean, and sometimes it's hard to think 5 or 10 years like where we're at, and we don't always take a minute to think like that, but I think it's good for everybody to kind of just take a second. It's like, wow, 5, 10 years, where are we going to be at that point, not only individually, but technology-wise. And so, I mean, even having electric vehicles now, like that was one step. Just to be here for that, that's amazing. And where can people find you if they wanted to know more?
Oh yeah, I basically Twitter is my metaverse right now. It's at @rkleger. I don't know my name somewhere, but ARCLEGGER. Yeah, if you guys want to follow along, I'm currently interviewing at a lot of different places, trying to find the right spot. And when I do pick the right spot for me, I'll be helping them, build games. So
Nice.
That's where I'll be.
And we're here for it. All right. Will, what do you think? What are some norms or a norm that you see from what you've been dabbling in, and where can people find you?
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think it's all about the AR glasses in the next 5 years. That right now the phone thing is neat, but it's a toy. But it's those of us in this industry are using this time to learn how to do it so that we're ready. And once we have the glasses, then I think that like right now people have PFP NFTs. They put it on Twitter. You get the hexagon or whatever, and that's big.
Yeah.
But once your digital assets can actually float around your head or are in, like that they'll actually define a person or a place,
Right.
then I think that is where we're off to the races.
Yeah.
And that's where the interop comes in, that people are going to have different kinds of phones, different apps, but having some type of asset that can cross boundaries makes it easier for this thing that I own to really feel real, because like other people can see it, even if we're using different technology.
Right.
And you can find me on Twitter at wow, it's Will, wow. That's my initials, it's fine. It seemed like a good idea at the time. And my company is at Illust, ILLUST space. I'd love to talk more.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of like the same thing like you were saying, you'll be able to just walk around and see what are the ratings or what are the deals at these stores, kind of what you're saying, like you'll be able to see, what people have on like their shirt, like there's a whole other thing too, kind of stuff like that.
PFP is over their head, right? Like,
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing at Ape Fest, which was a big convention or a big, I guess, get-together concert type event for people who own Bored Apes and Mutant Apes. But I was missing the AR element, where I wanted to just look into the crowd and see above their head who they were online. Because I didn't know I could be staring right in front of this person, and it could be somebody I've talked to on the internet for
Right.
30 straight days.
Yeah.
And I don't know who they are unless I see their profile picture. So
It becomes our identity almost
Right.
of what we connect with and what we resonate with, and so, I think that is going to be important to keep in mind.
And you think about even something like fashion, like somebody, who are you wearing? Like you've got a floating dragon from some
Right.
artist. They only made 100 of the gold ones,
Right.
and like you've got it. That's interesting.
Yeah,
And it
there's
means
going to be
something.
some stuff coming with that for sure. We know that. Creatress, what are some norms you see, and where can people find you?
Yeah, I don't even know where to start, honestly, but since we're talking about fashion, I guess I'll touch on that.
Sure.
I imagine in 5 years, probably less than that, like my hat will have some sort of chip, like one of those like near field chips, for example, that when you see me and you're wearing your Apple AR glasses, it'll register that chip and it'll pop up one of my sculptures like behind me or on top. Or
Yeah.
it'll say Creatress just
Right.
right there, right? And I won't be the only one, right? Because you can add that to a shirt or you can just hold that a card in your pocket.
Right.
Right, so you could definitely be at an event, and everyone has one of those either embedded in their hat.
Let me put my
or in
lens
their-
on,
in their
and you can
wallet,
see,
right?
like-
Right, and then your AR thing just picks it all up
Yeah.
and pops up their profile picture from Twitter or whatever it is that we're
Man,
using.
that'd be so
back,
cool.
You know, in 5 years.
I want that.
I think that's definitely gonna be a thing. I think people are also each gonna have their own metaverses.
Mm-hmm.
People are gonna understand that there's gonna be no centralized place
Mm-hmm.
because someone will wanna monetize it. So everyone will just have their own AR hangouts,
Mm-hmm.
right? So currently I could pull up a AR gallery and put it right here with multiple of my artworks, right? That's already a thing. I think more people are gonna do that with their photos, even if you're not an artist.
Right.
You might wanna put like your family photos and you're like, oh, look, chick, this is my family. You pull it up and you're seeing it in AR. And it automatically goes to everybody's visors, right?
Yeah.
And you're just seeing it. So it'll be a new way to share as opposed to uploading stuff to Facebook.
Yeah.
You are sharing it in real time with people. This is one of the things, and there's just so much. Yeah.
And I think, you know, and we already see little pieces of that, like on Instagram filters. It's the same thing where you have those things covering your face or kind of like shielding or next to you, creating that character and identity, and then to take that from that little perspective into the outside world, where if we had glasses or lenses, it would be at a grander scale. So I think it's going to be pretty crazy to see play out.
Okay.
Yeah, and where can people find you?
Yeah, Creatress Art, CREATRESS Art on all the platforms, and yeah,
Okay, cool.
I'll be around.
Thanks. Tyler,
Yeah.
what are you thinking? What are some norms here in the next 5 to 10 years? What are you feeling? What's happening?
When those glasses come out, I'm definitely gonna be the guy, instead of like a garden gnome in my front yard, it's gonna be like a Creatress sculpture. Like, it's, you know, pink flamingos, all that, but they're 30 feet tall.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that, but is a trend that's emerging that we're really excited about at INI is a trend that originated in Japan called VTubers. And VTubers are these creators that are creating an anime avatar that streams online and creates content like vlogging, you know. And so with that intersection of like the PFP trend, where people are assuming these digital identities, and by the way, like I think a big miss with Meta right now is that they're marketing humans where no one wants to show up in the metaverses themselves. They want to be something, you know, totally different. So
Right.
I think just that element of people becoming having the opportunity to build a character online or IP around themselves and pursue a career of building a digital asset
Right.
is as a character is really exciting for me. So that's
Nice. Okay, and where can people find you?
So, like I said, the app is IMI, our website's IMI.io, and I'm Tyler Culbertson on Instagram or Culbertson Tyler on Twitter.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody up here. You know, and again, this was a really great topic and conversation. Again, my name is Keegan. You can find me __KEEGAN__. But yeah, big things to come here, and thanks for spending time. Thanks for joining our TED Talk. No, not a TED Talk, but yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So let's leave 2 chairs. So we're just gonna leave 2, and then we have to swap over 2 labs as well to these 2. Awesome. Thank you. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get our next fireside chat going on. We have to do a couple of mic swaps, so I'm just gonna give them a second to get that handled, and then we'll continue. Just a reminder, we do have that AR art gallery all around the library today. Will, if you want to announce that, that link one more time, that would be awesome. So yeah, everyone can go ahead and view that art gallery. Also, I just wanted to give you a reminder, we have workshops going until 3 p.m. So those are currently happening. They're going to go until 3 p.m. We have them in the study room 853 and 854. Those are going to be on the 8th floor. So like I mentioned earlier, we're on the 1st, the 9th, and the 8th floor for workshops. the.illust, I-L-L-U-S-T .space / discover. Yeah, I've seen it. There's a couple NFTs living in this courtyard. I've seen them. It kind of reminds me of Pokemon Go. Yes. In a browser, yes. No apps that you have to install. All right, our speakers are ready, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce Oliver Maroney and Sal. Oliver is the GM of Web3 and NFTs for Cameo and co-founder of Cameo Pass. And joining him on stage is Sal DeGuardia. He is our broadcasting expert. They're going to be talking about how a brand can authentically enter Web3.
Welcome, Oliver.
Nice to see you. Nice to see everybody.
It's good to see you. This is a really big treat for me. So Cameo Pass, first of all, is one of the sponsors of the event, so we're eternally grateful. Thank you for helping make this happen today. A really cool treat for me, and it's just cool the way it happened. One of the panels needed to be filled, and I was asked, hey, can you fill in? And it happened to be Oliver, who I just had on my show a few weeks ago.
Right? Yeah.
It worked out perfect. So we have a little bit of history. That's kind of the fun insider information. But why don't you start, Oliver? Just give us a quick overview of who you are and what you do with Cameo Pass.
Yeah, my name's Oliver. I've been basically at Cameo for the better part of about 3.5 years. And I've been in their Web3 division, newly formed within the past year. As the co-founder of their first entry into Web3, which is called Cameo Pass, i.e. the logo back here, and also head up our NFT and Web3 department just in general. So I've been doing this. Look, I entered the space, everybody gives their whole backstory about how they got into NFTs.
Right.
I started in NBA Top Shot. A friend of mine and I got in during the beta stage, which is like before they opened it up to the public, and started hosting shows with them. So we had guys like Mark Cuban or Trey Jones, or like NBA players, Rudy Gobert, et cetera, come on the show. We'd talk about cryptocurrency, NBA Top Shot, like how this all kind of blends in. And this was basically the start of COVID.
Right.
And then from there, look, I had been at Cameo, I'd been working there, hosting these shows, and had been just poking, prodding, trying to get Cameo involved in Web3, and here I am, heading up our Web3 division and helping out, like I said, in co-founding Cameo Pass, which is something we're really proud of.
So does anybody not know who Cameo is? Don't know?
Great questions. Yeah.
Alrighty, let's start there. How about a quick overview of what is Cameo?
Yeah, Cameo is an app that you can download on your app store. It's a website, and as simple as I can explain it, you can get a personalized video message from anybody that you could possibly imagine. We have 40,000 plus talent on the platform, is what we call them. That can be anywhere from a sports figure to a celebrity, your Snoop Dogg's to your, I could go down the list of people, Bon Jovi's, et cetera, have used us as a means not only to monetize off their likeness or give a shout out to somebody. This could be, I'll go down the quick version of this, which is you go into the app, you request Snoop Dogg to give a happy birthday to your friend, and you type in what you want him to say. He gets the message, he records it, and you get it back. And so it's this hyper-personalized way to connect with folks, bring joy to people's lives. And so we've done this. We've done, I think, somewhere between like 5 and 6 million magical moments is what we call them. Basically 5 or 6 million videos transmitted over the course of the past few years with these talent. And that's kind of what Cameo is in a broad form or easily summarized way.
So you get an NBA Top Shots and you realize very quickly how these assets are literally going to revolutionize the future, how people are going to own goods, specifically digital. And you start thinking from a corporate perspective, hey, we got to do something, but you apparently met a lot of resistance
Yeah.
initially. So what was that like, trying to convince the partners there at Cameo?
Yeah, obviously Cameo is not a small company. I think we have around 300 employees, give or take. We've got a lot of executives, board members, et cetera. So there's a lot of hoops and bounds to go through to get something accomplished. At the same time, we're still a startup in a sense.
Right.
We still act a little bit gritty. We've got like lean engineering teams, et cetera, to be able to push us to the next level. And like you said, I was met with resistance early on. It's just, what works? Why would we do this?
Right.
And actually, one of our co-founders who helped us launch Cameo Pass, our CTO currently, his name's Devin Townsend. He's a brilliant guy. He's been on Forbes 30 Under 30 and stuff. And his whole consensus of Web3 was like, why use Web3 if there isn't a reason to use Web3? And that was the big hurdle. It was like, okay, we could come up with all these ideas. We could do this and that and the other thing. We could take the celebrities' names and put them on these NFTs, and then we could launch the NFTs. But we could do that without NFTs. Why? And so that was really where we had to come up with a game plan. And we spent the better part of a year basically coming up with different ideas, crossing paths, trying to talk to everybody under the sun. I went to Dapper, I went to Vayner, the people up here, I went to all sorts of people, and we just had conversations. And it started there. And slowly but surely, we started to develop this idea and this concept around what our main focus is at Cameo and bringing it into Web3 in a way that made sense for Web3 and then also helped us scale this potentially for the future. And so Cameo Pass is what came out of all these conversations. And the idea of Cameo Pass in a very short, summarized way is Cameo Pass is the in real life version of what Cameo offers. And it also has developed into, over the course of the past 6 months, into like kind of a creator incubator for NFT creation. And so we noticed there was a niche in the market for artists, underrepresented artists, folks across the world basically that knew about NFTs, had great artwork, but had never like kind of figured out what made the most sense. And so we came up with this kind of like incubator, like I said, and we've launched 5 collections under Cameo Pass for artists, creators, etc., to be able to help them monetize themselves. And that's part of what Cameo's goal is overall, is to help these celebrities get fans, create a community around those fans. And that's the same thing we're trying to do here with like Cameo Pass and what we're building.
So different than, you didn't just look at how do we release an NFT project?
No, I mean, and that's the
goal.
thing, this conversation is about authentically, branding yourself or putting yourself in a position to launch a Web3 collection. And I think the big key to this is you're not just dropping something to drop something.
Right.
You're not just doing something because you could make $1 million or
Cash
$5 million.
grabbing, yes.
Cash grabbing,
Right.
whatever it may be. And I think a lot of companies look at this space and they see, first of all, money, and then they see, second of all, like the IP that they own or have part ownership in, and they think that there's some value attached to that just inherently.
Right.
And I think that's where looking at all the options, figuring out what your brand identity is, what you want folks to feel like, and secondarily to that, look, a big part of a brand's purpose is to build a community of folks that love and adore your product, right? And launching an NFT collection just to launch one isn't going to accomplish any of those. And so our whole goal here is to build a community centered around this idea of exclusive access in real life events and exclusive access to our creator drops that we do. And so that's really what we've created. And over time, it's look, none of this is easy. Everybody could sit here and be like, yeah, you could snap your finger and do a quick smart contract and launch an NFT collection. But the way that we've done this is really thorough. And the way that we plan out our drops and the mechanics and some of the other features involve our community. It's actually really, really fun to see. Like, we will openly ask people in our Discord channels, openly ask folks at places like this for advice and ideas and concepts. And we bring those to life. And we take those little nuggets and tidbits and we kind of incorporate it. And I think that's really where, when you're talking about launching something authentically, that's it. It's like looking at the market, looking at what people want, what people are excited about, interested about, want to be a part of,
Right.
and trying to build something that also incorporates your brand.
What is brilliant, and I don't know if now this is an afterthought and kind of it's going to be like looking back on this moment, right? 10 years from now, 20 years from now, is understanding, like, taking the fundamentals of what Cameo really was.
Yeah.
And it was that exclusive access. Like, when are you ever going to get a text message from Danny Trejo
Yeah,
that says, you know, happy birthday, my brother, like,
totally.
right? That's never ever gonna, or a FaceTime call from, you know, whoever. So,
Yep.
and really taking that to the next level with the projects from whoever it is, right? The celebrities, creators, et cetera, artists. So I love that part about it. That's the authentic piece that at least that's what I got from it.
Yeah.
And that's why I really, honestly, you know, when I'm looking at projects to talk with on our radio show, we're not looking to shill anybody's project. That's not the first thing we think of as, hey, let's get somebody on and try to, you know, partner up and make some money together.
Yeah.
That's never even a thought, right? It's always the opposite, which is how do we inform people what this project is without it coming off like a big shill? And the beautiful part is you really did. You tapped into the authenticity of what Cameo really is and just elevated it, which is brilliant. Like, absolutely love
Well, I
the work that
appreciate
you
it,
guys have
yeah.
done. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun to see. I mean, like, look, I think from afar, there's a lot of opportunity. Like, I look back, we did an event in LA in March. This is a while ago, like right after we launched. And if you held a Cameo Pass, you went to an exclusive house in Beverly Hills, and you met everybody from your Danny Trejo to your Gary Payton to your LeVar Balls to your Shooter McGavins to your 4 cast members from The Office, and you're hanging out having drinks with them. This isn't like, hey, let's just take a picture, see you later. This is, you know, having an hour, having a drink with them,
real
eating dinner
experience,
with them.
yeah.
And so ultimately the idea there is like, hey, if you like that sort of access, which people who like Cameo like that sort of access, that's why they're on the platform a lot of the times, this just brings it to the next level, right? And this idea that we could create something around our platform and around a community of folks that like this concept is just something that I think is, like I said, it's authentic. I mean, it's truly our brand meets in real life in like this digital Web3 universe that's like being built as we speak.
I feel like I know the answer to this one, Oliver, but I have to ask it. So are there any projects that you care to name? You may not want to name them all, but that kind of did inspire it, like to figure out what the secret sauce was of how do we provide value in really the community piece and not worry so much about the NFT?
Totally. I think when we were discussing launching an NFT collection, when we were going through the very small crawls, and then you start like walking a little bit further, and you get closer to this like idea that you have, there were a lot of projects. It's not just like one. I think you know, I looked at Top Shot and what they did early on, and I thought that they were really, really strategic and smart about how they were launching it. You know, they're giving beta invites to specific folks that were interested in the concept, and they started to launch. And at some point, it gets to a point where it's so big that it's very hard to control and understand like where the market dynamics go and all the other stuff. But I think early on, you look at some of the Top Shot stuff, and I was pretty inspired and interested in what they did.
Sure.
But after like you look at what VeeFriends and Gary Vee did, he basically took his time and allocated it to people who purchased his NFT, right?
Experience.
And the same sort of concept. And if you can just scale that, right? If you could do that with any potential person, it could work, right? Any potential creator, celebrity, artist, musician, whatever it may be. The issue that I was coming across, I wanted to scale this across the platform initially. When I saw Gary Vee do this, I was like, okay, well, we could do this with Snoop Dogg. We could do this with this. Well, then you go to meet these celebrities and these people, and this is no names, but 9 times out of 10, it's like, how much money will this make me?
Right.
And I'll do half the time that is necessary.
You almost have to re-educate them on what this whole thing is about.
Well, hold on a second. Never mind then. And that's why we did Cameo Pass, because we knew that we could get celebrities time.
Right.
One-off, specific situations, et cetera, because they like us, we help them. But for doing like a sole one creator, two creators, we were very, very careful about how we started to like look at that. And to be quite frank and honest with you, we still haven't found the recipe for success in the one-off creator instance to launch an NFT collection with. I mean, we've done a lot of art drops with artists because they do care and they genuinely want to help their community out and showcase their artwork and be out there and be on the ground and all this other
Right.
stuff. And so we've just been very slowly taking nuggets, trying to understand the market. And look, part of this is just experimentation. You have to like try things, see if they work, see if they don't, but you also have to be very transparent when you're doing that. And so I think that's what we do really well. Our team is Web3 oriented. We
Right.
have, you know, I've been in the space 24 months. My co-founder with me, Ben, has been in the space 24 months. Both of us spent 18 to 24 hours a day in Discord and every project imaginable, minting this and that and the other thing. And so we understand the dynamics from the purchaser side. And that's what I think helps us and kind of elevates us to a different level is having someone, any brand, I would highly recommend. If they don't have somebody who's Web3 focused and oriented, get somebody like that just so that you have a second set of eyes and understand the market and kind of the dynamics of building a community and being transparent and knowing some of the things before they happen.
I have like 10 more questions
Yeah.
for you. And we have time for one, basically, maybe one more question. You already answered one, which was, and I wanted to just touch on it briefly. You spent how many hours a day on Discord
I'd
learning?
say 18 hours a day. And look,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, you can, yeah, if anybody's a Cameo Pass holder and is in our Discord channel, you know that I'm messaging people at 2 a.m. and I'm also messaging people at noon the next
Yeah.
day. It's, I work a lot, but I enjoy it. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, if you enjoy what you do, it doesn't feel like work. And that's kind of how I feel about what we're doing.
So knowing that, you know, things are a little bit fluid, at least trying to figure out really what is connecting with the market. Where is Cameo Pass today? What does it really stand for today? And what do you see it growing to in the future?
Yeah, I mean, today, look, we've launched 5 collections with artists across the United States at this current moment. We've done 6+ in real life events across the world. That could be London, Chicago, New York, Miami, LA, multiple times in LA, Minnesota, et cetera. So we've done a bunch of events. But the way I see this, you know, moving or trending towards is this idea, like what Reddit has done recently. If you look at how many wallets and people that they've gotten educated on just the very simplified basics of it.
Right.
Don't even mention NFT. It doesn't need to be mentioned. This idea that there is some sort of token gate or access at a very core level is super important to the success of this long term and that sort of onboarding flow and process. And I think we spoke on this on your show. It's
Right.
like, I'm not here to sell you on why NFTs are going to help you individually. I'm going to explain to you, you know, our collection, other collections I like, people I like in the space, things like that. But if you don't have a genuine passion for it, it's going to be really hard for me to try and convince you of that. And so I think that this space needs to be extremely patient and understanding of folks that may not totally get everything. And they don't have to. That's the beauty of this.
Yeah.
They will learn over time as long as we're doing the right actions and doing the right things to bring people in the right way, the organic way. And I think that's really what, like, to me, what I would love to try and figure out from a Cameo and a Cameo Pass perspective is bringing people in. You know, my greatest feat in the Cameo Pass ecosystem right now is the fact that I onboarded like 400 wallets during Mint Day. And that was really the beauty of it for me, is like getting people involved that wouldn't have normally ever bought an NFT. And that to me is like where we need to go 5 months, 10 months, 2 years, 4 years from now. Adopt, grow, and organically, you know, message it in the right way.
Yeah.
So,
Oliver Maroney, co-founder and GM for Cameo Pass. Thank you so much, my friend. Amazing.
Amazing. All right, I'm super excited to introduce our next speaker. This speaker has elected to do his entire speech in Spanish. in an effort to broaden the horizons of this conference and, just touch a different, more expansive audience. He'll be discussing Blockchain 101, and he has his PhD in computer science. He's a teacher, consultant, and blockchain engineer. I'm going to go ahead and pull up his slides. In just a minute, we'll get started. Yes. Look at this. Pull this up. And play. All right, it's all yours.
Ok, buenas tardes. Muchas gracias por la invitación. Es un placer para mí dar la conferencia o la plática en español. Vamos a revisar algunos conceptos básicos de blockchain. No voy a hacer una charla muy técnica, solamente platicar y conversar algunas de las ideas que están detrás de blockchain que pues, nos han llevado a fascinarnos con esta tecnología. Okay, algunos de los temas que vamos a revisar, algunos orígenes de Bitcoin y sobre todo qué problemas vamos a resolver con blockchain, cómo funciona Bitcoin, algunas ideas sobre Ethereum y los contratos inteligentes. Bueno, rápidamente. Bueno, esta diapositiva, cuando vi la imagen me inspiró mucho porque me puse a pensar sobre qué elementos o qué inventos tecnológicos realmente han cambiado a la humanidad y esos inventos son los que pueden llevar nuestra sociedad hacia un nivel superior, que pueden mejorar cómo la sociedad está actualmente. Y yo creo que blockchain es ese invento tecnológico que puede llevarnos hacia un siguiente nivel. ¿Por qué? Por ejemplo, existen millones de personas en el mundo que no tienen acceso a servicios financieros básicos, como una tarjeta de crédito o un crédito bancario, una hipoteca, etc. Eso es algo muy común. Blockchain nos da esa posibilidad de tener acceso a servicios financieros. Entonces ahí ya tenemos una importante contribución de esta tecnología al desarrollo de la sociedad y en general de la humanidad. Y lo mismo ha sucedido con otras, ¿no? Como el Internet o la máquina de vapor, la imprenta, etc. ¿no? ¿Cómo surge blockchain o Bitcoin? En el 2009, aproximadamente, un personaje anónimo publica un artículo que se llama Bitcoin, a Peer-to-Peer Electronic Cash System, en el cual describe un mecanismo en el que se puede transmitir valor a través del Internet sin la necesidad de un intermediario. Y bueno, ¿por qué esto es importante? Porque antes de Bitcoin esto simplemente no era posible. Podemos enviar imágenes, PDFs, cualquier tipo de archivo en Internet, pero siempre tiene que pasar a través de un intermediario. No puedo hacer una transacción tecnológica, digital, sin la intervención de un intermediario. Entonces, por primera vez, esta tecnología nos permite intercambiar valor a través del Internet, eliminando ese elemento intermedio, ¿no? Básicamente, ¿qué problema es el que resuelve Bitcoin? El problema se conoce como el double spending o el problema del doble gasto, en el cual yo puedo reproducir sin control cualquier elemento digital. Yo puedo descargar un MP3, un archivo de música, y lo puedo reproducir y retransmitir cuantas veces quiera. Cuando yo pago por ese MP3, realmente estoy pagando por el derecho de descargar la imagen. No estoy pagando por la propiedad de ese elemento digital. ¿Okay? Entonces, lo que sucede con Bitcoin es que ahora podemos controlar la pertenencia de esos elementos digitales que existen en el Internet. ¿Okay? Y algo muy interesante también que resuelve, que propone Satoshi, fue utilizar herramientas que ya existían, herramientas tecnológicas que nos van a permitir, que al conjuntarlas nos van a permitir ese intercambio de valor. Entonces, eso es bien interesante porque no inventó realmente algo nuevo tecnológicamente hablando, sino que conjuntó varias herramientas y las puso al servicio de blockchain. Por supuesto que hay más elementos, ¿no? detrás de blockchain, pero básicamente esas son algunas de las ideas principales que él pone o que describe en su artículo. Y nos permiten tener la tecnología blockchain. Ahora bien, porque otro de los elementos por los cuales es importante blockchain, esta esta plática la escuché cuando estaba comenzando con blockchain y para mí fue muy inspiradora porque me trajo una idea con la que sigo todavía, ¿no? Mucha gente nos pregunta, bueno, ¿a dónde se va el dinero? ¿A dónde se van los bitcoins? ¿Dónde están los bitcoins? ¿Por qué debo confiar en una wallet? ¿Dónde está? ¿Quién está detrás de ese dinero? Y pensando en esta idea, yo siempre respondo, es que lo que está detrás de la tecnología blockchain y Bitcoin es, pues, valga la redundancia, la tecnología. Tengo que confiar en elementos de criptografía, matemáticas, ciencias computacionales. Esto es lo que está detrás de blockchain. No es una persona de la cual dependamos para poder llevar a cabo una transacción, sino dependemos de la tecnología. En realidad, Satoshi Nakamoto no menciona el término blockchain en su artículo original. El término se fue acuñando con el tiempo, a través del paso de los meses, años, debido a la forma en que la información o las transacciones se van agrupando en bloques y se va creando una cadena de estos bloques. Entonces, podemos ver que una transacción se almacena en un bloque. Cuando el bloque queda completo, bueno, se libera y se va uniendo otros bloques. La unión se hace a través de mecanismos de criptografía, funciones hash, que van firmando digitalmente un bloque detrás de otro. Además de todo esto, la realidad del sistema está contenida en lo que sería un libro contable o digital ledger, ¿sí? En el cual podemos ver el historial imborrable de todas las transacciones que han habido, ¿no? Entonces, este historial no lo podemos modificar, no podemos eliminar alguna transacción o cambiar algún elemento de la cadena de bloques. Es relativamente, es relativamente fácil poder detectar cuando este cambio ha ocurrido. ¿Por qué Bitcoin tiene valor? Eso es algo que igual todo el tiempo me preguntan las personas, bueno, ¿qué le da valor a Bitcoin? Y hay muchos elementos que le dan ese valor a Bitcoin. Uno de ellos puede ser que no es posible, bueno, no cualquiera puede generar un Bitcoin. Existe un mecanismo por el cual, que yo tengo que seguir, por el cual voy a generar este Bitcoin. Además, antes de Bitcoin, como ya les comenté, la cantidad de elementos digitales que se pueden reproducir puede ser ilimitada. No existía el concepto de escasez digital. Bitcoin es un elemento digital escaso en el Internet. Solamente se van a producir 21 millones de Bitcoins y ese sería el total de monedas que vamos a tener. Entonces, además, bueno, existe interés en esta tecnología por los problemas que puede resolver y eso también va generando demanda. Y bueno, un elemento muy interesante también es que es un medio para almacenar valor. Bitcoin tiene muchas aplicaciones, pero muchas de ellas es que puedo retener Bitcoin y es un elemento que es considerado como el oro digital, porque puedo almacenar valor en línea. Existen también muchas ideas si Bitcoin realmente está logrando este propósito. Este autor, Josh Gilder, menciona que, bueno, puede o no puede Bitcoin estar llegando hacia ese objetivo, pero lo que sí es un hecho es que la tecnología blockchain está revolucionando la forma en la que nosotros intercambiamos valor en el Internet. George Gilder, no recuerdo el nombre del libro, pero hace algunos años, predijo mucho de cómo sería el Internet en estos tiempos. Y ahora él, en el libro Life After Google, él predice que muchas de las compañías que están ahora van a ceder su terreno a la nueva economía. Y eso se refiere a, pues, las compañías que están desarrollando en Web3. ¿Por qué? Porque ha sucedido antes. La humanidad ha llegado a ciertos momentos en los que pensamos que ya todo está resuelto, ¿sí? Por ejemplo, en la época de la Revolución Industrial. Y esto, pues, la historia nos ha enseñado que siempre hay un cambio tecnológico que nos permite seguir creciendo como humanidad. Entonces yo personalmente creo que ese momento está llegando con la tecnología blockchain. Ese es un muy buen libro si quieren comenzar con blockchain y es muy interesante conocerlo. Bueno, rápidamente, ¿cómo funciona? Sin caer en muchos tecnicismos, ¿cómo funciona Bitcoin? Hay varios elementos que se deben de conjuntar para que una transacción en Bitcoin pueda ser exitosa. Por ejemplo, si una wallet quiere enviar tokens o monedas hacia otra cartera, lo primero que tengo que hacer es enviarlos a la red. Recuerden que cada nodo en la red va a tener un registro de la cadena de bloques. y va a comenzar un proceso de minería. Existen otros mecanismos de consensos, pero bueno, en el caso de Bitcoin es un proceso de minería. ¿Qué es la minería? Los nodos compiten entre sí, resolviendo algún tipo de problema, que en este caso es un problema de fuerza bruta, tratando de resolver un problema para recibir, para poder ser capaces de validar y crear un nuevo bloque. El nodo que resuelve primero ese problema es el que va a ser capaz de crear ese bloque y puede recibir una recompensa si crea ese bloque de manera correcta. Después de que ha creado el bloque, entonces otros nodos en la red validan que se haya creado y validado correctamente. La información se comparte a la red y todos tienen una copia de la misma información y tienen una sola realidad. Aquellos que no decidan adoptar esa realidad, bueno, serán relegados de la red porque los nodos tienen la capacidad de detectar quién está comportándose de manera inadecuada. Entonces, al final, la wallet, aquí no se aprecian los números, pero la wallet B, la cartera B recibe los bitcoins. En realidad no recibe nada, lo único que hace es que en su registro interno puede comprobar que él ya es dueño de esos elementos digitales. Y todos los nodos que están en la red, bueno, pueden hacer la misma verificación. Ok, bueno, ¿qué hay más allá de Bitcoin? Bitcoin es solamente la punta del iceberg. Hasta hace unos años, no sé, recuerdo 2, 3 años, no hablábamos de NFTs o de finanzas descentralizadas o de exchange descentralizados. Bitcoin dio paso a mucho de lo que ahora conocemos. Una prueba de ello es que después de Bitcoin surgió Ethereum, la cual es una plataforma basada en tecnología blockchain que nos permite ejecutar software por encima de la blockchain. Bitcoin fue diseñado de tal forma que servía con un solo propósito. Si quisiéramos tener una aplicación encima de Bitcoin, tendríamos que prácticamente generar una nueva blockchain. Entonces, el creador de Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, diseñó esta blockchain siendo Turing Complete. ¿Qué significa esto? Que es posible ejecutar instrucciones computacionales y desarrollar software. ¿Cuáles son las principales diferencias de Bitcoin y Ethereum? Bueno, Bitcoin es una máquina diseñada con un solo propósito y Ethereum es una máquina que permite ejecutar otras aplicaciones. A veces cuando pongo esa diapositiva me han dicho si estoy tratando de minimizar el alcance de Bitcoin y no. En realidad Bitcoin es muy importante, en este caso una calculadora siempre es muy útil, pero es un dispositivo creado con un solo propósito. En cambio Ethereum es una blockchain diseñada para poder ejecutar software sobre Ethereum. Y bueno, un elemento muy importante de Ethereum son los contratos inteligentes que nos permiten ejecutar esas aplicaciones en la blockchain de Ethereum. Los contratos inteligentes es código, es básicamente un script que se puede identificar a través de una dirección que tienen código dentro de ellos. Se puede almacenar dinero, ¿sí? Se puede almacenar tokens, dinero, se puede generar nuevos tokens además de la moneda nativa Ether. Y, por supuesto, se puede cambiar el estado de esos contratos inteligentes. Aquí me refiero con estado, no se puede cambiar el código, pero las variables y el funcionamiento del contrato puede ir evolucionando. Y para llevar a cabo esto, necesito pagar gas. ¿Por qué necesito pagar cierto gas? Porque la plataforma funciona de las contribuciones que todos los nodos y todos los usuarios hacen a la red. Entonces, yo necesito pagar unos fees. Esto siempre ha sido así, porque en realidad en Web2 o en la red, en el desarrollo convencional, siempre pagamos a un elemento centralizado mes a mes o año con año para poder ejecutar nuestro software. En cambio, con Ethereum, los smart contracts, necesitamos pagar cada vez que se va a ejecutar una transacción. Entonces, el gas es muy importante porque es la unidad para medir ese esfuerzo computacional necesario para llevar a cabo una transacción. Bueno, ese es un breve repaso de algunos elementos importantes de blockchain. Y bueno, para concluir, solamente quiero mencionar a este personaje, Andreas Antonopoulos, espero haber mencionado bien su nombre, que es uno de los grandes promotores de Bitcoin y blockchain. Y en una de sus pláticas, él comenta este concepto que es la conversión de la infraestructura. Y bueno, todo el mundo hemos hablado de que estamos en un comienzo, todavía nos falta mucho para seguir evolucionando, pero así ha sido con todas las tecnologías, ¿no? Como ustedes pueden ver, en algún momento no existían carreteras, no existían refacciones, mecánicos, etcétera, y esto ha evolucionado de manera pues, exponencial. Entonces, lo mismo espero con blockchain, lo mismo creo que va a pasar con esta tecnología, seguirá avanzando, seguirá evolucionando, y en algún momento ya vamos a hacer ese cambio importante para poder implementarlo en nuestro día a día. Bueno, pues muchísimas gracias. Con esto concluyo. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, Himer. Gracias. All right, we have a panel coming up. I'm going to go ahead and get things situated, and then I will intro them really quick. All right, for our panel, we have Amar Harag. He works with the hospitality group that created the first NFT cocktail bar in San Diego, Botanica. So as you can see, they are a part of the Web3 SC conference, and they are hosting the after party. So we're gonna learn a lot about them. I would also like to introduce Edith Soria. She is internationally recognized for her work as a young leader and visionary. She has provided over 800 hours of education in developing communities and orphanages in Mexico. So it is a privilege to have both of these people on here. Valerie is also going to be moderating, and the topic is going to be social impact and utilizing Web3 and how those work together. All right, let's go ahead and welcome this panel. Thank you.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Is it needed on the on there?
Hello? Hello? Hello?
That's good. Check, check.
Mine as well.
Check, check, 1, 2.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me? No?
No?
Can you clip to your necklace maybe? Clip it like higher.
Clip it up
like
to
like on your chain maybe. Or switch. Okay.
Testing, testing. Can you guys hear me now? Okay, yeah. Thanks for bearing with us, guys. So how's everyone doing? How's everyone today? Can I get some woos? Let's bring up the energy in here. This is really exciting, guys. Thank you, everyone, for coming to listen to our panel today and for being here at Web3SD. As you guys know, if you're here, obviously that shows that you're open-minded, whether you're new, you're a beginner. There's a lot of interesting things that are happening in this space, right? So there's a lot of use cases that are happening, so I'm very excited today to be talking about the opportunities that are within the technology to use it for hospitality and to use it for social impact. So we're gonna get into it. And so real quick, I just wanted to introduce myself. If you didn't hear me, I was speaking earlier. But my name is Valerie Carrillo. Not only am I one of the lead organizers of the conference today, but I'm also the founder of San Diego NFT Friends. So I'd love to give the opportunity for Edith to go ahead and introduce herself.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Edith. I am with Create Purpose, which is right here. I'm the co-founder of Create Purpose Mexico, and I run the nonprofit in Mexico. Came today from Tijuana. If any of you have gone. It's very close to here. And the whole purpose of the organization is to provide opportunities for children that are at a disadvantage. Children that live within orphanages, but 90% of them are not orphans. And so earlier today, I saw 2 kids in the back just hearing the talk on the metaverse and the panel and the NFTs and how they can become really good opportunities for them. And I couldn't help but wonder what would happen if we would put these kids that are at the orphanages in these situations, in these panels, in these communities and networks. And that is something that now, after 8 years, that's something that we're planning on doing at Create Purpose. We started with a garden-based learning program 8 years ago, 7 years ago in Mexico, thinking about how these children, because they don't live with their parents, they are already at a disadvantage. We can say we were all privileged if you had the chance to grow up with your family, with your parents, grandparents, siblings, just cousins, and aunts, uncles. We are already privileged because we lived a different life that these children have lived. And so thinking about this, we can think about all of the other privileges that we do have, and they don't. That's why they're considered at risk for violence when they have to leave the orphanage and they have no chances of paying their rent on their own, chances for joining narco-traffic or even gangs, because what they're offering a family, and that's something they didn't have. And so thinking about this is how we started with the garden-based learning program, not only for them to learn how to grow their own vegetables and be healthy, but also to connect with the soil, with the earth, and just be here. Now that we're talking about now the glasses and we're gonna be in the metaverse, well, first we need to just get barefoot and put our feet on the ground and see where we are in this other world that is also happening, right? And so that's how we started. Then we added the technology program where they started learning how to turn on a computer at 6 years old, 8 years old, 18 years old when they hadn't before used the computer, learning how to use the G Suite and just all the tools, how the internet works, what it is for, what's the potential. What are they going to be using the internet for when they grow up and when they leave the orphanage at 18? And then from there is how we get, okay, we're here, this is the earth that we're in, and then there's also all these other possibilities. Now with this knowledge and also working with the caregivers and the staff at the orphanage, creating a more inclusive way for them to grow in, considering them as people and not just poor babies, basically, because they're going to be adults very soon, is that we are now introducing them to the NFT space. And we also, last year, at the start of last year, we received well, I don't know if I should get into this right now, but
we'll get into it. Clearly,
yes,
Edith is very passionate.
Thank you.
And I love it so much, so thank you so much for that intro. We're definitely going to touch on it. But I'd love to give the opportunity for Amar to introduce himself as well.
Hey guys, I'm Amar Harag. I recently founded a hospitality group, and we have like several restaurants in San Diego, Tahona, Wormwood, and then the latest one is Botanica, which is, we call it the first NFT cocktail bar in this side of the world. So we'll, hopefully some of you guys will be there tonight at the after party, and we'll get to show you what that means. And I've been actually on the board of Create Purpose since day one. Very passionate about the same cause. Also see the potential in the kids in Baja and how with the right tools they can flourish into amazing adults, and we can hopefully break the cycle. Yeah, I'm excited to be here, and congratulations for your first conference.
Thank you so much. So one of the things I want to start with, I think is important as we flow through this conversation, is starting with, when did you realize that this technology was something that you want to explore more? And then how did that lead into you thinking about using this technology for your project? So go ahead, Ida.
Thank you. I believe it was for me about in around 2000. I am young, and so I'm gonna say a lot of years ago, it was 2017, when we received our first donation of 3 Bitcoins for Create Purpose. It was someone who wanted to invest socially, and honestly, we had no idea what to do with it because we didn't know the potential, we didn't know anything about it. So the next day, it was cashed already.
So real quick, how much was 3 Bitcoin worth?
It was much more money than, yeah. At the time, it was about $3,000, I believe.
In total for the 3 Bitcoin?
No, it was each.
Each,
Yes.
okay.
So it was a little bit more than 10,000.
Okay, so this,
Yeah,
this
something like
person
that.
was wanting to donate 3 Bitcoin to Create Purpose.
Exactly.
Okay.
For programs because he believed in the cause and he had the Bitcoin and he saw the potential, so he said, here you go. As I said, we didn't know much about it, so we sold it, and then I believe it was the year after that, or in 2019, when it really bull market, and then we saw what we had done, and I'm saying we because we're a team, of course, and we realized the potential of the social investments, of investing in cryptocurrencies and the blockchain and the everything, and then how that could have affected our work, because it did already. Like, it came from that source, that income that we used to run our programs in those early days, and then what else it could have done.
Right, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. Amar, when was the first time you realized that this technology was going to be something useful for yourself and for your business?
So, and when you say this technology, do you mean anything that is in the
In the Web3,
Web3.
blockchain technology, whether it's crypto or NFTs or anything else?
Yeah. In getting involved with Create Purpose and really believing in the mission of bringing innovative curriculums to kids that are in disadvantageous environments, one of my strong push from day one with the organization was that it should be web-based and that there is plenty of opportunities to recreate education and look at education through a different lens, which is the tools are out there to no longer have the structure that was built during the time where they were trying to unify the world with all the different colonies, and school had to be the same everywhere. There's an opportunity now with a lot of these tools, and I think because it's so much of it is new and almost fresh, it's very easy to grasp the interest of younger generations. And so you put them in front of a screen and you just open the door for them and they go full blown in it, and next thing you know, they become the experts, right? And all it is really for them having the access. And to me that was really I think that that light that turned on. It's like, there's more to all of this, really, because and then if you apply that at the kids at an orphanage, what are we talking about, the kids here or even any of us, right? So and so there was an interest in wanting to at some point link that with the hospitality things we're doing. With Mezcal it was hard. With the Absinthe Bar, it was hard. And then with Botanica, we're part of a complex that is all about art. And so it was like, hey, why don't we bring them the NFT side? And it's been fascinating to see that journey, because the people that were already part of that complex that are doing great work in the local art scene, there was a resistance right away of like, how does that apply to us? We're real and true artists, and that's the feeling you get, right? And I respect that, because it is truly life's work when somebody's been creating art or supporting the arts for a very long time. And this can feel like, oh, this new kid in the block is coming in and creating art suddenly, right? But in reality, I think it's just an amazing opportunity, and I felt that it was fun to find a way to make that part of the hospitality experience, but in a way that is qualitative and not like, let's put 1 million screens and turn the whole thing. It's really, let's pick the artist. Let's create the whole thing into an educational experience as well, and kind of open the door to whatever is next, you know.
Yeah.
So that's been my journey with that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. I want to bring it back over to Edith, and I want to hear more about, so you started realizing the potential that you used with Bitcoin and how that was able to help the orphans. As an organization with Create Purpose, how was that journey in getting Create Purpose to start accepting crypto payments? How was that process for you guys?
Yes, thank you. So it was a new experience, but as a young nonprofit, basically everything was new. So we had to learn about the law in Mexico and the US. We had to have all the admin type, and we also had to learn how to recruit our facilitators in the beginning and what an educational program looks like, and just all of these things. So this just became like one more tool we needed for a belt, basically. And I believe that openness is something that really helped, because although there was this resistance, as far as like, well, this is a wallet, but it's a digital wallet. This is a Bitcoin, this is Ethereum, and this is Ripple, but like all of these things. And so being open to it, that's something that helped. And then because it became, it was like having another bank account. So something like that. And also when thinking about the crypto, it was thinking like the Forex market. So it's like, okay, with the money that people donate to us, we could never invest in the Forex market. We're not going to invest in the crypto market. But if someone gives this to us in crypto, then we can choose when we take it out, or we can choose to leave it there. And that's something that it's allowed, which in just cash, it wouldn't be possible, because there's has to go somewhere, because there's a value to it already. So being able to understand that and to choose what you wanted to do with it in terms of when you want to withdraw, or if you want to leave it there for the next cycle, and just all of these things, that's how it was basically. And so we started accepting crypto within the small community that we had of donors in the cryptocurrency space. But then it helped us open up to, like now on the website, you can donate in crypto. And now thinking about each child having their own wallet, and then you can give directly to each child, and just all of these things. But that's how it has been with that openness, and also the time it needs for you to research and to understand how it works, and patience a lot.
Right, right. So unfortunately, we only about have 5 more minutes left, and I want to ask so many more questions, but I really want to get to, really how is, for both Amar and Edith, and your relationship with Create Purpose and Botanica, have you guys seen an uptick in interest in just the general public, people who want to donate, or people who want to attend Botanica and be a part of whatever it is that you're creating with the NFTs and with crypto? How has that looked like for both of you?
Well, I'll keep it short because we haven't opened yet. So no, but we had our media night yesterday, and you had the editors of all the cool magazines in town, and a few people there, and really that's all they wanted to talk about, and a lot of it was like genuine interest. Like, I really want to understand this. Like, I really want to know. And I think people are getting to the point, at least on the NFT space, if I may say, it's they're reading within the lines. The media made a big deal about that it was a bubble, this and that. So then now they're kind of that phase is almost passing, where now it's going to get into more of the interesting parts of it. So we're just excited to also be part of that too. It's been a great learning experience, and connected me with a lot of local artists that didn't even necessarily know how to get into the space, and connected me with several organizations that are involved, including you guys. And so now I think that's one of the opportunity that I'm seeing, and that can translate on the nonprofit side, is it becomes like a community, right, of people that are all connected in different angles. There's the technology people, and there's the startup people, and there's the crypto people, and then the artists, and but all of that is connected through this essence of let's do something with this that's going to be better. And could be like a better way to run a nonprofit. It could be a better way to connect with kids at an orphanage. It could be a better way to broadcast art, or at the end of the day, I think build wealth in a more equitable or like a level that allows the average person to have access versus, having to deal with old financial institutions that control things and don't give you that opportunity. So, yeah. So that's kind of my take on it. Is that it's just fantastic time for all of us. It's a fantastic time for all of us to be in this opportunity.
Definitely. I mean, I've been hearing that word thrown around a lot today at the conference, is opportunity. Clearly, there's a lot of opportunity for, I mentioned before, is no matter what socioeconomic background you have, whether you're starting from nothing and have nothing, or whether you're an investor, right? You have some wealth where you can start investing in some things. So with that being said, Edith, have you seen an increase in people who want to donate in crypto?
Yes, I do want to share our most successful experience, I'm going to say, because there have been a few experiences. And in this saying, I just want to start with the context of running a nonprofit is very hard because it's kind of a business, but even with more laws and regulations. And then the second thing is that in order to have an impact, we need to think in the long term. And so when we think about a donation, I know that $1 will help. And I also can understand that $1 will run out. I'm gonna use that $1, and that's it. And so what is happening and what has happened for us in the last year is that besides this first investor and socially with the Bitcoin, we've had other investors, and this one in particular, we were able to, with one investment, double that investment in less than a year, in about 7 months, to be able to have nodes for mining crypto. And so the first node was given to us as a social investment. What it was worth, we doubled it in 7 months, and then we invested again in buying another node for continuing mining crypto. Wow. With that action, we were able to triplicate the first investment and withdraw that in cash in order to sustain the organization for the last year and a half. Isn't not only the only source of income, there's others, but that has something that has happened. And with the value of the nodes that we own as Create Purpose, that first investment just went 2,000% multiplied so far. I'm not a business analyst, I'm not a financial person, but that's very good, I think, in any scenario. And so when we think about long-term investments, and with what Amar has been doing, he has been investing socially for I don't know how many years before Create Purpose existed. And that has been in a linear way. But in this other way, with crypto and with the Web3 and everything, it kind of looks like exponentially it increases. And it's able to give a longer impact. Because as I said, if you want to create an impact, then you gotta make sure it's gonna be sustainable. That's how, very grateful.
Amazing. So congratulations to both of your success and for your continued success. If anyone has more questions for either Amar or Edith, they can be found in the back after their talk. But I'd love to leave this stage with just how people can connect further with either yourselves as an individual or with your project and business.
Create Purpose, all of social media, personally, Natural Edith. My social media is about Create Purpose also, so you can follow us both.
Yeah, same, Botanica, I'm sure, I don't know if it's here somewhere. Yeah, Botanica SD, I think it is. And then personal as well as Amar_Harag1.
All right,
somehow it was taken.
Well, thank you both so much. Appreciate your time, and we look forward to hearing more in next year's conference, how far you guys have come. So definitely invite you guys back. And so thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and everybody on Twitch. And I think we have our last presentation going on, so thank you so much.
Amazing panel. Thank you so much to all three of you. We are gonna do a little bit of situating up here. We have to swap over some microphones. So just give us a couple minutes and then we'll go ahead and get our closing speakers started. Just wanted to make a couple mentions. We are going to be closing this stage after this talk at 2 p.m. You can go ahead and continue learning and exploring the stage upstairs. So that stage is going to be open for another hour. We're going to be talking about a little bit more technical things up there to close out the evening. And then the conference will finish at 3 p.m. today. Like I mentioned before, the parking garage does close at 6, so I don't know if you want to stick around for an additional 3 hours, you're welcome to, but we do ask that you head out around 6. And it is my pleasure to intro our next two speakers. Steffi Reyes-Thomas is a Afro-Chicana holistic designer. She also runs a Holistic Spaces design consultancy. Joining her on stage is Alan Lilly. He is a musician and co-host of the Port of Entry podcast. He is on a mission to melt borders completely, and we're going to hear a lot about that today. They both are just huge celebrators of humanity, and that is what we at Web3SD are here to do as well. So without further ado, please welcome our next and final speakers. You're welcome.
Why is everyone so far?
Seriously, you in the back. Come up here. Come on.
Come on up.
No pressure, but if anyone's brave enough to make this feel like a show, you know, like a hip hop show, the front row is right there. Super empty.
Come on.
Yeah, all right.
There we go.
Brave souls, brave souls. Round of applause for y'all.
Oh, so as you guys know, I'm Steffi, and I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces here. Hey. Hey, y'all. Hey, baby, I see you in the back. Okay, so thank you guys for welcoming us. First of all, it's an honor to be here today. Like, it looks like it's been such a success so far, so got that going for me. And, yeah, so anybody who knows anything about me knows that I am an artist and a regenerative designer, and I am absolutely obsessed with music and all things that go into it. And so today, you guys have the pleasure of witnessing a unique conversation between an NFT music artist and his #1 fan. So, we're gonna get right into it. Yeah. So, who is Tulengua?
Short answer is that we're a bilingual band from both sides, with members from both sides of the border. I have a little cheat sheet. I'm supposed to keep it short for this one. Yeah, we've been a band for about 4 or 5 years. We started, this band really started as a dream when there was a lot of rhetoric and divisive words being spoken about the border and immigration. And that didn't, usually from people that have no lived experience crossing the border every day, have no idea what it's actually like to live in a border town. And as someone who does, and a musician, music being the most uniting universal language, I wanted to start a band that could represent
exists on both sides of the border, the unity that exists, just like the togetherness that actually is here. It's not just two different sides of the border. There's so much interdependence in this region, and what better
2 weeks from now, follow Tutututu Lengua.
Awesome. And Steffi, how can they find you?
Oh, if you go back to the first slide, very first one, you can follow Steffi_holistic on Twitter, or
All right, awesome. Give it up for these speakers. What an amazing fireside chat. All right, and in closing, I do want to thank the amazing, let me get this up really quick, sorry. The library staff who helped us today, we've had tremendous support all around us, honestly. The San Diego community, the crypto community, each community that came together to make this conference happen it's just, I mean, we're all a part of it. This community is so special. I have gone to sleep many nights just really thankful for the people who surround me, and I know that many of you guys feel the same. So thank you all for being a part of this, supporting us, supporting the artists, supporting the builders and the dreamers, because I know that we are all that. So we are unfortunately closing down this stage. We're gonna invite you to head up to the 9th floor. I also want to invite you to come to the after party. We're going to Mission Brewery. We have it reserved for, our team and the Web3 conference at large. So that's gonna be from 3 p.m. to close. And I do just want to, again, thank the amazing team that put this together. I'm just so proud of us. Our mission was diversity. I'm happy to announce that 65% of the people we had on stage today represented minority groups. And that was, from, definitely. Because Web3 is for all, and from our ticket pricing to our venue to our speakers, every single vote, we really kept that value true. So thank you all for the support, and we'll see you upstairs.
Thank you.
And thanks to Madison, who was an amazing MC.
Yes.
Thank you.
Cool.
Hide back behind the piano again, I guess. Check.